What is going on, world? What's up, YouTube? It's Zero here. Today I'm bringing you guys a brand new episode of the 8 Below Show. Welcome everyone to 8 Below. Thanks for being here, guys, to the best entertainment related show here on YouTube. And I'm super excited about our episode here today. We have a lot of stuff to talk about, so let's get into it. We've talked on the YouTube channel about Lost Planet in the past, guys. The past of Lost Planet and as well as the future, guys. And we're going to be talking more about the future here in this first segment of the show. You guys can check out all of the content, guys, based around Lost Planet as a franchise. Many videos here on the YouTube channel that you guys can check out around Lost Planet and Lost Planet 4 in particular. And this segment, like I said, guys, I wanted to talk more so about the future of Lost Planet, that being Lost Planet 4 and the unknowns here. Obviously, we have no confirmation that Lost Planet 4 will ever see the light of day. As far as we know it as of right this moment, it's in a limbo state. I'm not sure if it's something that they're planning on bringing back to life at some point, because obviously the first two games were really great. The third one was a little bit of a misstep, and so hopefully we get that fourth game, guys, in this franchise. I'm absolutely hoping for it. And some of the things that I want, guys, are, as follows. And when I say, guys, that this is everything that we want out of Lost Planet 4, I'm going to be giving you guys my opinion. Some of you may agree, some of you may disagree. I want to know, though, what you guys want to see in Lost Planet 4 in the comment section down below. So at number 1, guys, I want to see a more expansive universe here with Lost Planet 4. I think a soft reboot potentially would be something that could be, special for this franchise. Maybe, not necessarily like picking up right where Lost Planet 3 left off, but maybe doing it more in a soft reboot type of mentality here, moving into the next generation hardware, that being like the Xbox Series X and the PlayStation 5. I think the graphics and such could really do well, especially with Lost Planet as a franchise here. I think it could look really good on the next generation consoles. So for me, guys, I want a more expansive universe. What I'm getting at is, in particular, I'd love to see a semi-open world to a full open world of Lost Planet, really having that ability to explore everything that's around you and having things along the way that you can do. So along the journey, guys, there's other things that you can do along the way that kind of, helps you at least, put more time into the game at the end of the day. And I think as a player of the first 3 games, I would like to see, a continuation here. But also, even more than all of that, even more than just having that expansive universe, I think having things along that journey that you're able to do. And that being, also coming in contact with new characters, new enemies, new locations. I think all of those things are really going to help Lost Planet 4 as a whole. I think it's important with any franchise, guys, whether you're talking a soft reboot or you're doing the continuation, I think it's important that you see characters that are familiar, enemies that are familiar, and locations that are familiar, but also having differences so that it kind of sets it apart from the other games. Maybe even if that means taking some chances here. I think Lost Planet could be one of those games that you take some chances with, and I would be totally down to see that. I've said this in the past, guys, that Lost Planet to me is a kid-friendly Gears of War title. And so, Gears of War being more adult-oriented because of the gore and things of that nature, Lost Planet was a little bit more lighthearted, right? And it was still had a lot of action and fun action, but it was kind of more for everyone. And so I think that they could really take that into, take the next step with that and kind of really base this entire game around pretty much being accessible to anyone out there, any type of gamer out there. So like I said, guys, new enemies, new locations, and then, of course, new characters at the end of the day, I think is going to really help the story as a whole as well. Having some new weaponry would be great. Some new types of, transportation, whether we're talking mechs or, different vehicles and such, to really traverse the world and get around. I think that might be something that they could potentially do here with Lost Planet 4. Also, guys, the one thing about Lost Planet, it always felt like it was played in the snow, always snowy elements and stuff. And I have no problem with that. However, when I said I wanted new locations and new environments, I think having some snow locations where it kind of feels familiar, but also having other places that you're exploring. And I know, guys, that with Lost Planet, it's not always snowy, but primarily, for the most part, in those other games, in the first 3 games, it was a lot of snow maps and snow missions. And so what I'm getting at is having a variety. I think it could really do well. Think about the jungles and the different areas like cities and such that you can go into. I think that would be something really special. And I think that, as a universe, there's so much to explore. And that's why I think open world would be really great for this franchise. Also, guys, I think that this is a franchise that is primed for multiplayer experiences and an expansion on that. So what I'm getting at, guys, is after you beat the campaign, you want new ways in which you can connect with the franchise. And I think that with Lost Planet, having multiplayer experiences would be really great, and having expanded, multiplayer experiences and co-op experiences where you can play with your friends if you choose to. Whether you want to play by yourself, you want to play with your friends, or you just want to play with other people online, I think that's another great way in which you can absolutely build this universe. And speaking of Gears of War, guys, how this is the kid-friendly Gears of War, I think having co-op, game modes like Horde mode in Gears of War, where you're going up against waves and waves of enemies. I think Lost Planet could do something similar to that, where you're going up against waves and waves of enemies, and I think that would be a lot of fun at the end of the day. But like I said, guys, having more and more co-op modes, even some creativity on their end to add some modes, would be really great, I think. And I really, guys, one of the big things I want is I just want Lost Planet to have another chance. Let's just see what happens with the Lost Planet 4. Look, if it doesn't do that well, obviously they'll probably be done with the series for forever, but I think that we should at least they should take a chance on it and just see how it does with the next generation of consoles, especially if you're doing a soft reboot here. And that leads me in the next thing, guys, which is a free-to-play, motto here for Lost Planet 4. Now, most likely, we're not going to see a free-to-play Lost Planet game, but what I'm getting at is, if it's a free-to-play game with all the other, the landscape here of gaming, you see so many AAA titles that are free-to-play now, or at least have aspects that are free-to-play, I think Lost Planet could absolutely be one of those games that could do really well. People would at least check it out, which would get people to stream it, which would get people to talk about it, which would get content creators to create content around that game. And so what I'm getting at is it could really help build the fan base, bring a lot of those people back to the franchise, and then it could build upon that fan base that it's already built, because it already has an infrastructure, is there with the first 3 games. I think this could just help elevate that if they were to go free to play. Most likely, though, guys, they probably wouldn't go free to play. I'm just saying that because I think that would be really cool, and I think it would help the universe and the game as a whole, the franchise, grow to new heights. But those are the things, guys, that I would really like to see in Lost Planet 4. And I mean, we could talk ad nauseum about other customizable items and having different ways in which you can connect with the franchise. Big things to me, guys, when we talk about multiplayer are those customizable options, as well as being able to have earnable items, things that you can earn within the game that show the time that you've put into the game. When you're in an in-game lobby and everybody else is in there, they can see what you've done as far as your titles and your emblems, and all of those things help bring you back to the game to continue putting in the grind and that effort. Seeing, as you rank up and things of that nature, I think Lost Planet 4 could really take advantage of ways like that, being a third-person shooter. But, guys, these are the things that I would like to see in Lost Planet 4. I would love to hear your thoughts in the comment section below. What do you guys want to see in Lost Planet 4? Let me know, guys. And for more Lost Planet 4 content and videos, stay here with Zero TV. We've talked a lot, guys, about FaZe 5 ever since it got announced that FaZe 5 was coming back in 2020, and we've been kind of trying to break down different situations or different possibilities that this recruitment challenge could bring us. We all know that FaZe 5 is the biggest recruitment challenge in all of gaming, guys, and has been, because most of the big teams out there, and when we're talking about big esports teams and big gaming entertainment teams, they don't typically recruit a lot of people to them. They're pretty exclusive. And so FaZe, being one of the biggest gaming organizations in the world, doing a FaZe 5 recruitment challenge where they're picking up 5 people, that's a really big deal. So what I want to talk about, guys, in this segment of the show is how many streamers or content creators will they recruit, that being FaZe, through FaZe 5, if any at all. So let's talk about it. So a question I've gotten, guys, from my other FaZe 5 videos, which you guys can check out all of those here on the YouTube channel, people have asked me, in the comment section on YouTube as well as on social media, they've asked me that, since I brought up, my top, 5 people, what ideally I believe should happen with the 5 people who get recruited. I've stated in the past that they should stick to the traditions of FaZe 5, that being Call of Duty trickshotting and sniping, at least to a point. So typically, guys, the first couple recruitment challenges, they picked up like 2 or 3 trickshotters and then a couple of snipers, and that's typically how they did it for the first couple of FaZe 5 recruitment challenges. They had a FaZe 1 recruitment challenge. But anyways, I think that they should stick to, the traditions, but I also think it needs to evolve over time. So I've said that I think they should pick up 1 trick shotter, 1 sniper, 1 streamer, 1 content creator, and then like 1 Fortnite player. Now, are they going to do that, guys? I have no idea. They might just recruit all Fortnite players. They may recruit just Call of Duty people. They may do just YouTubers or just content creators and streamers. I mean, it's really hard to say, but one thing that we do know is from the guys who have been recruited to FaZe 5 in the past, many of them went on just to become personalities or creators themselves. So they may just be thinking, we want to pick up the best people in Fortnite, for example, the best players, and those players will become personalities over time with their with their talent their God-given talent that they were given to play Fortnite or Call of Duty, whatever it might be. But let's just go based on what, my feeling is what I would like to see personally. I would like to see a little bit of a nod to the past, that being like trickshotting and sniping community. I'd also like to see, a nod to Fortnite, because they've already talked about in the past that they were going to do a FaZe 5, but it was going to be all based around Fortnite. And then, of course, that didn't see the light of day, so who knows what this one's going to, kind of present itself. And then also, guys, I just think that for those of us who aren't like great at trickshotting or aren't great at sniping or aren't great at Fortnite as a whole, I think that those people should still get a chance to join FaZe, and that being like from a streaming perspective, from a content creator perspective. I think it's really important that, there's a way in which there's multiple ways that you could join the team. It's not just based on one thing or another. And so do I think that they will pick up a streamer and a content creator? I do, guys. I do believe that. Now, whether that is that they are exclusively a streamer or a content creator, or they are a Fortnite player who's also a content creator, that remains to be seen, right? Or they're like really good at, Call of Duty, but they also create content on YouTube. It's hard to say how they're going to go about doing it and what the recruitment challenge is going to look like for each individual type of player or content creator streamer out there. So are they going to do something along the lines of, you got to hit this many shots, or you got to go for trick shots, right, with this clan tag for this period of time, and then we'll pick up this many trick shotters, this many snipers, and then as far as streamers and content creators go, you got to create the best high quality content you can in this time period using hashtag FaZe 5 or something, and then, you send those in, and then we look at everything, and then we, do a top 1,000, and then from there you're going to have to do other challenges, and then it goes to the top 100, so on and so forth. It's hard to say how they're going to do it. Most likely, I think they're going to want it to be somewhat simplistic. The way that I'm presenting it might be a little more complex if you're adding, streamers, you're adding content creators, you're adding Call of Duty players as well as Fortnite players. They may just want to do Fortnite people. They may just want to do Call of Duty once again. I think they're going to do something that not necessarily is the more simplistic, but it's going to be streamlined easiest, is a possibility. I would like to see them recruit some streamers as well as content creators, even if that means only one of each. But it's hard to say, guys. I would say yes, because especially all of these guys, whoever they are, that get recruited to FaZe, they're each going to have individual, strengths and things that they're really good at, whether they're really good at Fortnite, whatever it might be. And some of them may very well take their talents after playing, Fortnite or Call of Duty, for example, and start creating their own types of other personalized content, like so many of the FaZe guys have up to this point, and then they become a full-blown streamer or a full-time content creator. It's hard to say, guys. I'm hoping to see it, though, nonetheless. And I would like to see, 2 out of the 5 people, 1 being a streamer and 1 being a content creator. But let me know, guys, what do you guys think is going to happen with FaZe 5? Are you going to be going for FaZe 5? And if so, what are you trying to go as? A streamer, a content creator? Or are you guys trying to go as a trick shotter, a sniper, or a Fortnite player? What are you trying to join FaZe as? Let me know in the comment section below. And for more FaZe 5 content and videos, stay here with Zero TV. We've talked on the YouTube channel in the past, guys, about Wolfenstein and this franchise that, I at first didn't like very much. But then as the series has progressed, I've actually really just started to enjoy it. It's kind of like one of those guilty pleasure games that I just really enjoy to play. It's very chill. You just sit down, and what an action adventure game it really is. There's not, it's not like some, super confusing story, or there's not like these, really ridiculous narratives. I mean, sure, it's far-fetched, but it's a lot of fun to say the least. Now, with the latest release in this franchise, we had, of course, Wolfenstein Youngblood, which, in my opinion, was one of the weaker games in the series. Now, it's a side story technically, kind of like if you think of Far Cry, you have like the main Far Cry games, and then you also have like Far Cry Primal and Far Cry New Dawn. Youngblood is kind of similar to that. It's kind of like a side story, still within the same universe. I appreciate them making the game. I just didn't like it that much. And I'm really looking forward to Wolfenstein 3, guys, as a whole. And so in this segment of the show, I want to talk about Wolfenstein 3, and I want to talk about the future of Wolfenstein and all the things that we would want within that game. I'll be giving you guys my opinion. I want to hear yours in the comment section down below. So let's get into it. So, guys, I really want to see them continue this franchise in a way in which, I just want to see the continuation at the end of the day. Whether we're talking 20 years in the future, past the recent events, or if we're talking, immediately after, whatever it might be, guys, I just want to see that continuation. I want to see the evolution here. And, with that, I want to see new characters, I want to see some existing characters, though, too, obviously. I want to see some familiarity. I want to see some differences. So I want to see new characters. I want to see some new enemies that you're going up against, as well as, just new environments as a whole. Now, this is a game and a franchise overall, guys, that's pretty, it's pretty linear as far as the narrative is concerned. I wouldn't mind seeing something a little bit more expansive than that, though. I wouldn't mind seeing a little bit more of a semi-open world almost. Like, I think there's parts of it that are great to have very linear and very structured, where you kind of know exactly where it is you're going and all of those things. But I think having, a little bit of some change might not be bad for the franchise as a whole. Having a semi-open world where you can more so explore the world, you're able to maybe even having puzzles and things of that nature that you have to, kind of solve in order to move on and such. And I just think, in my opinion, that even though I love the linear story, I want to still have that, but I'd like to have elements of this next game where there's portions of it that have a semi-open world feel to it, where you can explore and really really sink your teeth into this world, so to speak. And so I think that would be really special as well. But really, all in all, having new enemies, guys, having new bosses, having all of those things, I think is going to be really important with Wolfenstein 3 as well. And then, of course, new as well as existing characters, and then the locations and such. I definitely want those. Even if you kept the story as a linear story overall, I would just like to see some new different areas, right? I'd like to just see some new locations and such, and surprise me on it, but I just want differences. You want those similarities, but you also want those differences. The next thing, guys, for me is this is a franchise that I've always said that I felt that with co-op and multiplayer, it was a franchise that was primed to really start to grow in a major way. And I think it could with Wolfenstein 3, with some really good multiplayer modes as well as some co-op modes. Having ways in which you can play with other friends, having ways that you can just play with other people around the world, guys, I think is a great thing. And especially after you're done with the campaign a lot of times isn't that long. And so if you beat it once and then you come back and you play it again on a harder difficulty, after you beat it that second time, most likely you're going to move on to other games unless there's more to do. And so that's why, for me, I'd like to see other ways that we can connect with this franchise. And it being a shooter, I think it could do pretty well, actually. From a multiplayer perspective, adding some modes there, adding a decent amount of co-op modes, co-op missions. I think that would be really awesome. Even if it was just like, you know, we were talking earlier in the show, guys, about Lost Planet and how, you know, they could add something in that game similar to like what Gears of War does with their Horde mode. It'd be interesting to play with your friends and you're just mowing down enemies in Wolfenstein, or you're like using strategy in order to you know, to win against waves and waves of enemies. I think that would be really cool as well. But at the end of the day, for me, it's just having more options, more things to do within this world of Wolfenstein is something that I would really like to see. And then the next thing for me, guys, you know, as a whole, I think that we need, you know, this franchise has, you know, it's been around for a little while now. I mean, it's obviously had some, you know, kind of not necessarily reboots, but I think that Wolfenstein, maybe at some point or another, I don't know if it's this next game or, you know, the one after that, whatever it might be, I think that whether they decide to do a soft reboot or not, I think that they should just do a direct continuation. But if they did a soft reboot, I think it would be interesting for them to do that, especially with the next generation of consoles coming in to the fray here with new updated graphics and such. I think now might be a really good time to either, you know, having, you know, some of the current characters passing the torch on to new characters, or if you wanted to do a soft reboot. I think that this universe feels like it's a pretty wide open one, so I think it would be kind of cool to maybe see that concept at some point or another. All in all, though, guys, I really want to see them surprise me. And we know that it's most likely going to be coming out on the next generation of consoles, and so that's really exciting as well. But these are the things that I want to see in Wolfenstein 3. One other one that I haven't really, you know, touched on, guys, is just weaponry. Different ways that you can, you know, all kinds of, you know, new weapons and such I would love to get in Wolfenstein 3. New ways that, you know, you can kind of, your character just evolves with time. And I think that is something that would be really awesome as well. Like I said, having existing weapons in it is going to be just fine, but also having new weapons in it, I think, is going to be really special as well. But let me know, guys, what do you guys want to see in Wolfenstein 3? Let me know in the comment section below. And for more Wolfenstein 3 content and videos, stay here with Zero TV. In our last segment of the show, guys, I want to introduce a brand new series that I'm introducing to the YouTube channel. Guys, there's always going to be, you know, different series that we're going to be bringing to the YouTube channel, and I'm excited for everything that we have planned here for all of you. And in this, like I said, last segment of the show, this segment, I want to do the 3 games I'm buying in July of 2020. And what we're going to do, guys, is each and every month moving forward, we're going to be doing the 3 games that I'm buying each individual month. If I am deciding or planning on buying 3 games, that is, each month. And sometimes these games are going to be games that are coming out that particular month. Other times, it's going to be games that might have come out earlier in the year just because maybe there's a good deal or something, and I'm just going to give you guys my thoughts on those games, the reasons why I'm buying those games, and I would love to hear your guys' thoughts in the comment section below, because we're all gamers here. We're all going to be buying games at different points in time that, you know, in games that we feel, whether they're at a good deal or we're just going to buy them right then, right there. I think that there's a great opportunity here, and I just wanted to give you guys my 3 games that I'm going to be buying each individual month. And so we're going to try this thing out. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below, and what are, even if they're not the 3 games that you're buying, what are the 3 games that you guys are looking at? Let's get into it, guys. So coming in at number 1, guys, is Ghost of Tsushima, which is going to be coming out, guys, July 17th. And look, I'm planning on buying this game, guys. This has been one that looks absolutely visually stunning, has a lot of mystery to it, has some things, I mean, like just graphically from that standpoint, it seems very different to me. I mean, just, you know, about like the samurais and, you know, a lot of just, you know, history within this game. And that's something that I'm really excited about with Ghost of Tsushima. And I think this is going to be a game, in my opinion, that could very well be up for Game of the Year. I mean, just from a graphic standpoint, I would say it just looks visually stunning. I mean, this game looks like it could be the best looking game of the year. And sure, there's going to be other games that are coming out later on in the year that are going to be, definitely stiff competition for Ghost of Tsushima. But all in all, guys, I want to play this for the story. I want to see really what they're trying to do here. And, we've talked in the past that Ghost of Tsushima is a follow-up to, of course, Sucker Punch's Infamous series. And obviously, it's not most likely it's not at least in the same universe as Infamous. But I'm very excited just to see what Sucker Punch has been working on. This looking like it's going to be something really special. At number 2, guys, is a game that came out actually last month that I have not purchased yet, but I do plan on purchasing it. It is none other than The Last of Us Part 2. And guys, what I will say is that I didn't get the game immediately. I wanted to give it a little bit of some time. I watched a couple of reviews. I've kind of just tried to keep my distance from all of the leaks and the spoilers and all of those things within The Last of Us Part 2. And I'm excited to get my hands on the game and play it. Look, The Last of Us Part 1 was one of my favorite games of all time. I just wanted to give this one a little bit of some breathing room here, a little bit of some time. There's just been so much, whether you're talking backlash or positive reception around this game, I just wanted to give it a little bit of some time, and I think I'm ready to dive into it, kind of put all the noise and all that, outside talk and chatter behind me, and I'm ready to kind of move into The Last of Us Part 2 in a major way. I'm very excited about it, and from a story perspective, I just, I want there to be those, surprises, but I want there to be, just the excitement I have to kind of see what the next, continuation is of this franchise, to see where they might be going. Is this going to be a long drawn out franchise similar to that of the Uncharted franchise? Or is this going to be one that maybe kind of ends sooner rather than later? It's really hard to say. I would have to think, though, with what has been, what I've heard about The Last of Us Part 2, as far as from a sales perspective, being one of, if not the most, having the most pre-order copies in the history of PlayStation is a big deal. So I think that this very well may be a pretty long, drawn-out franchise, which I think would be really awesome to see what Naughty Dog does here. At the same time, guys, I'm really excited. The one thing that kind of was a real bummer to me with The Last of Us Part 2 was, the multiplayer perspective wasn't going to be in the game right away. And I know I have similar feelings towards Cyberpunk 2077, that there's no multiplayer as of right, from the very get-go. However, they are planning on adding it at some point or another later on. I believe it's factions they're going to be adding on to Last of Us Part 2, which I'm excited about. But it just is kind of a bummer that when you're buying the game, a $60 product, it's not a full package right when you buy it. You're going to be buying it for the story, and then after you're done with the story, most likely you're going to maybe you'll play it a couple of times, and then you'll move on to another game. That's why I'm really excited for the multiplayer aspect of it as well. And so I hope that it comes a little bit sooner rather than later, so that things are kind of fresh in your mind, and you get to kind of just jump right back in and play the multiplayer experiences shortly after beating the single player experiences. But yes, The Last of Us Part 2, guys, very excited about that. And then coming in at number 3, guys, another game that's going to be coming out here, in July, that I will be picking up this month, is F1 2020. So guys, you know me, I love sports games as well as, I love the shooter genre. For the most part, is my favorite genre, but I also like the strategy genre. I love the sports genre as well. And F1, guys, Formula One racing, I've actually really enjoyed. I love the show that they put out on Netflix, and that kind of actually got me into watching the sport whenever it's on TV. And I gotta say that from that perspective, this would be my very first F1 game that I would actually end up playing. I had thought about getting some of the older ones, but I figured that it was a perfect time to kind of jump into this franchise and start playing F1 2020, see how it is, guys. From a graphic standpoint, it looks great. It looks like it's a pretty fun racing game, to say the least. And so I'm excited to try that one out as well this month. Go ahead and get that one. And like I said, I'm excited excited about F1 2020. I'm kind of going into it somewhat blind, right? I've seen gameplay and such, but I don't know what all this game encompasses as a whole. Is it going to be, are they going to have like a story mode, a career mode? Are they going to be having, all the normal things that these sports games have nowadays? It's hard to say, but I'm going into this thing kind of blind, and I'm excited to say the least. Honorable mentions, though, guys, here to round out the end of this segment, guys. I've got a few of them, a few games that I'm looking forward to within July of 2020. Number one is Death Stranding on PC. Now, I did play Death Stranding on the PlayStation 4. And what an experience, man. I mean, what an incredible experience was Death Stranding. But I think I'd like to also see what it's like with, on the PC side of things. So that's a game that I'm definitely thinking of picking up at some point. Whether that's going to be in July or a little bit later on, it's hard to say. But that I'm definitely got my eye out on. Another one, guys, is Marvel's Iron Man VR. And that's a game that I'm looking forward to. I was planning on going over to a couple of my friends' houses who actually have VR, because I don't have one yet. And I want to play it. And it may be the first game that really gets me to buy the VR. I don't know. I think it's going to be really cool, the concept of being within the VR and kind of being Iron Man, like taking the helm as Iron Man. I'm very interested. I'm intrigued by it. I'm intrigued by VR as a whole, and I do think that it's going to be at least part of gaming's future without a doubt. So I'm excited to play that one as well. And then at number 3, guys, for my honorable mentions is Skater XL. With the recent announcement, guys, of Skate 4, this was a game that actually got announced before Skate 4, but not long before Skate 4 came out, was Skater, XL, and this game looks pretty good. It looks like you're able to really traverse this world and such, and I'm definitely intrigued. I was a big fan of the Tony Hawk Pro Skater games, and I'd like to play it. It's another one of those games that I'm excited to just kind of give a try at some point or another. I didn't put it on my top 3. I wanted to put it as an honorable mention because I don't know exactly when I'm planning on getting around to it, but it's definitely one that is certainly something that I want to talk about in the future, as well as something that I want to definitely play. But those, guys, are the 3 games I'm buying July of 2020. Let me know in the comment section below, what games are you buying right now? What games are you keeping an eye out on? Let me know in the comment section below. And for more 3 games I'm buying content and videos, stay here with Zero TV. And with that being said, everyone, I hope you guys did enjoy this episode of the 8 Below Show. And if you guys did, leave a thumbs up, subscribe if you're new, stay positive, and as always, I'll talk to you guys all in the next one. Peace.